to the Journey
Oh,
20.
oh, okay. Well, make sure I get that right. Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morris, happy to be here with you, trying to get myself together. Coming in just about 3 minutes late, but better late than never. Been a busy day today. And this is the Journey 2020 where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m. We've been around since 2013. And as Dr. Robinson would say, as a matter of fact, the person who came up with the Journey 2020, I had a conversation with him yesterday, Dr. John Robertson, clinical psychologist here in the Orlando area. I had not talked with him for a while, and I called him because I got a phone call from a friend who had some questions about her son, which is, the show is not about that, but just right off the tip of my tongue. She called and guess when the son was about 21 years old, he had a serious accident, and now he's about 33 years old. And evidently, the son is having some problems in his whole personality change, and he goes, according to her, that he goes from 0 to 200 like that over absolutely nothing a lot of times, and his lack of maturity and some other things, and the family members and everybody noticed the difference um, with him back when the accident took place. And so I called Dr. Robinson to ask him, because she told me that he had actually gone to some counseling and other stuff like that. And so I just called him, and he was the person who came up with the idea and the show and the concept back in 2013. A gentleman who I've been working with for well over 20 years. And I hadn't talked to him in a while, and so it's always a chance when you dealing with somebody who's very busy, so you have to try to catch him at the right time. He answered the phone and talked to him, and he called me back because he said he was in the car and he wanted to get some information to give me, to give my friend. So he did call me back and he did email me as well. So it was good to hear from him. As Dr. Robinson would say, as I would always say, the journey is from me to you and from you to me so we can reach a high level. And that's what we try to do here on the Journey 2020. And so, as we've been coming to you every Monday at 7 p.m., um, had a good day today, as I would say. Any day above ground is a great day. And had a chance to go out today at one of the schools. People who don't know me, but the people who do know me know that I've been working with schools and churches and kids and some of everybody for a very long time. And the funny thing is that when I look back over my history and I look at some of the things that I've been involved with, I kind of in awe of like, oh yeah, I used to do that. I used to work with, or used to be heavily involved with the Urban League, the Weekends of Orlando, um, the Boys and Girls Club, the SAFE program with the school program. Used to be on the board with the Urban League. Used to be on the board with the SAFE program. Used to be and used to do a lot of things with the Orange County Coalition for a Drug-Free Community. And when I had my TV show for 10 years, and think about everybody that's been on the show, the Orlando Police Department, the Orlando Sheriff Department, the entire Orange County School Board, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And I think of all the people that's in my circle from the city and the county, and from Seminole County Schools, Orange County Public Schools, the numerous summits over the years. And so you really don't think about it when you're doing it, but as I look back now, and I'm not so heavily involved like I used to be, especially when I was with Orange County, TV. Um, when I look at the schools that we're going to talk about today, I used to be with the, didn't know it at the time, back long time ago, there was a school called the Greenhouse Counseling Alternative School. Okay, I used to work with a gentleman by the name of Sylvester Mack and Brenda Crooms. Um, And I think at that time it was probably one of the only, I'm not sure about this, but it was probably one of the only alternative schools for Orange County. And I can go into details, and I have talked about that here. Uh, but it was interesting because I won't get into that. I won't get into that. Let's talk about what we want to talk about today. Today we is not a stranger to the show, and she's been on numerous occasions to talk about the Workforce Academy and the school that is an alternative school. And welcome once again to the Journey 2020. How are you today, Miss Perkins?
Well, hi, I'm okay. Actually, doing well to still be sitting up. I'm operating on about 3 hours of sleep after a busy day, but I'm okay. I got my second win, I guess, for right now.
Oh, okay. That's because people don't know what you've been going through for the past, I don't know, how long? How long since November?
It's November, yes.
Uh-uh. Okay. Well, I asked you to come on the show mainly because, again, it's it's so funny because there's some things that I can talk about, but I won't. I'm sitting there talk about because I, all it's going to do is expose my issues, you know, and my issues goes back to I used to coach, and I coached for 5 straight years, straight through, and have done a lot of things dealing with kids. And I've had people, my pastor brother, who coached kids in basketball and stuff like that. I have a passion for sports, grew up in sports, and I realized that through my issues that I can't coach now because I can't deal with today's kids. I just can't coach them because I only know one way of how to approach certain things and with heart, mind, and soul, and dedication and discipline. And I know that you now have to adapt, and I'm not good at that because I only know one way to how to go about doing these things. And it's not that I can't, I just refuse to adapt to these kids because I don't get it. I don't get um, my issues, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna talk about that. So I love the interaction with kids. I love mentoring kids, but there's just things that just does not register to me when it comes to giving in to these kids and not being part of that discipline part that seems to be that let me give you a device in church so you'll be quiet. I can't. I don't want to talk about that because that's a whole nother show. So that's what I mean. I didn't come up under that era in that type of discipline, a lack of discipline. And so when we were told to be quiet, we had to be quiet. When we was told to do these things, there was no alternative but to do these things. There was no give and take. It was like you're a child, I'm the adult. Um, the parents didn't come to school and have a discussion with the teacher to show up the teacher in front of the students and all this other stuff, which is another topic that we can talk about. But I want you to quickly just tell us a little bit while you're here about Workforce Academy once again, because you've been on a couple of times, to tell us about Workforce Academy and some of the challenges. We will get to that, but tell us a little bit about Workforce Academy and what you guys do there.
All right, so Workforce Advantage Academy, it is a career academy that's about almost 20 years old, located in the Orlando area. And our customers, as we call it, or our student population, is 11th and 12th graders. And many of them, or the majority of them, come from the surrounding OCPS high schools, the traditional schools, Jones and Colonial, Winter Park, Boone, Evans, those type of schools. And we also certainly have students that come from other schools too. And so, what I love about our school is that we take the upperclassmen because we have a job component to it. So it's hence the name workforce. And we really spend a lot of time in helping our students to learn those skills. So even the first week of school back in August, we have a business conference where we're teaching them how to complete a resume, how to fill out applications, how to dress for success, how to interview. We certainly want to teach them how to manage money, opening up bank accounts and savings, and how to pay rent, how to purchase a car, life skills basically. So it's really, really cool. Our students do not even have to come to school every day if they have a job. So ideally, they come to school Monday, but then go to work Tuesday, come to school Wednesday. So it's a really nice schedule for students who do want to be employed. Some of them need to be employed, to help out their families. And then some certainly love that opportunity to what we call earn and learn. So, go to school and make money, but also teach you really practical life skills. So that is the heart of it. Our school does have a large, well, it is an alternative school, but I would say a good 80-85% of those students there really are there to graduate and very focused. But we do have a remnant that we try, and sometimes we're not as successful in helping them get focused and, really on point.
The, because I've learned, let me go back when I said earlier when I was at the Greenhouse Counseling Alternative School, I had no idea that years later that I would know anything or be part of or be associated with Workforce Academy. Had no clue. The Greenhouse Counseling Alternative School. I would love us to look back on it and see how Orange County has changed over the years from the greenhouse counseling on, and actually would like to know where the greenhouse came from, the name, because it's basically it didn't have the workforce part of it, but it was the alternative school where they would send kids, and I know it was very mandatory for the parents to meet with the school, and they had the counseling part of it because these kids had their challenges and those type of things. But that's another story. But understanding a lot of the challenges that you face. So you again start out about with how many students in August. I think that's when school starts in August. About how many kids that
Mhm.
you and then and talk about somewhere down the line. They some kids come in December and January. Talk about that.
So our school capacity really, I would say our capacity is probably 300, but we normally, like to have around 260. There are seven teachers, academic teachers. So actually, six, like during the day, a student is in six of their academic classes. So normally they have 6 hours of lesson. We have a seventh teacher who what we call our business transition teacher. So if a student does not have a job, they are in that class for a day looking for a job, or they may work with our business developer to go to career fairs, to go out on job interviews. But that's also really a full time position in our business transition. But that teacher is also teaching them life skills and things like that. So, in that 200, say the 260, I'm going to go with that number, that everyone is not on campus one day. We have block scheduling. So as I mentioned, say our A day is at school Monday, our B day is at work. And then Tuesday, we have B day come to school and A day is at work. So it's almost like two different schools, which the student body and population have very unique. It's a unique culture on both days. You would really think you were attending two different schools. And out of that, say 120 should be on campus every day. No, we do not have that. Probably on a really good day, 60 to 80 people, which I would tell you, if we have 80, 90 people, we're really pleased with that. Unfortunately, a lot of students work, they get hooked on the working and stop coming to school. We can see some of the transition, like from August is packed, then September, October, by end of the first quarter, second quarter, you start seeing some the students kind of not coming, and of course we're reaching out to them. But here's the other piece: we're constantly getting new students in all year, and a little secret, you probably know about this, the traditional schools do a little purging, like twice a year, is my understanding. That's high school or schools are paid on their head count of students. So and so say I'm just going to say it's October, and then you do your head count for October, and then say it's January. So if a student in January, again, we take juniors and seniors, if in January a senior is not on point to graduate, say at Colonial High School, then oftentimes they are told they may want to look for some other options to help them get back on track. So we do get a high influx of students by that third quarter, which is January and February, because at that time they're really been kind of kind of guided to find some other options if they're not on track to walk across their graduation stage in May. And so we really do have the opportunity to try to help those students, at that time later. Um, as a matter of fact, I think we've got students in the last couple of weeks, and the quarter ends on Thursday or Thursday for the students. So they're still coming in. And, it's a lot to do with certainly recruiting as well as word of mouth. We get a lot of our students from family and friends who have come to our school, have had some success. Then they invite other family members and friends.
No, no, something that I didn't ask that just popped into my mind. Um, Workforce Academy, which means I want people to think about this. I want you to try to process this, and that is this right here. Okay, just think that. Okay, so I go to school, and we myself have been brought up in the traditional system of the school. So I myself, you go to school. My main focus, of course, was to go to school, and then there's always sports and your friends at school. So this is what they call Workforce Academy. And she's gonna correct me with this, but they're only, she said, it required to come to school a certain amount of days during the week, and the other days they are to find work or they have a job, supposedly. So think about that. So you're in school, and the school that you're attending is helping you find a job. So my question that I just popped into my head that I want to ask you, when the kids come, they don't have a job. What's the average time before the school find them a job or try to match them up with a job, and how does that work?
Okay. So I would say we do have a remnant of students who come with jobs, which is why they come to us because they like our schedule. Because the days off they can work during the day. But I would say within that first quarter, which is 9 weeks, that we probably get a good 30-40% of our students employed. We're really pushing that, getting those resumes done, filling out applications in the business transition class. I mentioned that's the class, if you do not have a job, you are required to go to. So technically, you're coming to school every day if in the case of you do not have employment. And we mean legitimate employment because there are some students who want to do things under the table. So I would say most of our students really push hard that first quarter, but by that second quarter, we have usually over 50% of our students, and that seems low, but it's actually higher than that. Again, of those who come to school and go to work, the number is probably higher working, but they just work all the time. They don't necessarily come to school. And we do have a business developer person whose job is to track all those students, track where they're working. Students change jobs on us in a minute, and we have to try to catch up with them and find that out. So, but yeah, I was over half of them definitely within the first semester are employed. If that to
How
answer your question.
how how difficult? and I know this may be a hard question to answer. Actually, it probably is a hard question to answer. But how difficult is it to balance the kids between school and work? I mean, because I know some of them may get it, some of them, what is that like?
So, one of the things we do as educators, at least that I'm aware of, and I know myself, I've been there for about 9 years. I rarely, if ever, give homework because we feel that if a student is able to self manage, like we tell them they're a business of one, if you're able to self manage yourself, get up and go to work, and come to school, then you have a head start on maybe some of your peers. And so we they get a grade for that, by the way. So in our business transition class, well, in the academic classes, there are 6 grades they get with your six, academic teachers. That seventh teacher that I mentioned gives 2 grades, one for the job and one we also say for our timesheets. We do have to account for all of our students' time to make sure they're having adequate number of hours of education since we don't follow the traditional model. So I would say that gosh, I lost my train of thought for a second. Um, see, 3 hours of sleep. Wait, where was I going? I lost my train of thought.
Well, I was asking you about the work and the school and the balance.
Yes, yes, yes. The balance, the
Right,
balance.
right, right.
So, what we try to do also, Charles, which I think is really special with our school. There are some students who are the breadwinners of the family.
Mhm.
And so if they're really close to graduating, say it's 24 credits needed and they have 22, we're going to really work with that student to get those last 2 credits. And, you know, we look at options to make sure they get the hours in, but maybe they don't have to be on campus all day. They could come in, do their required courses, and then go on to work. We have some students that we're able to finish school in December to graduate a little bit early. So then that also allows them an opportunity to go on and work. Um, but I would say I don't think many of our teachers really give homework because we're thinking they got to go work. So trying to find that balance, and I will tell you, many of our students take on additional shifts. The money gets good, the money gets good, and they start working more. But if I know my goal is you should be able to do all of your work during class, period. So that it's no excuse for it not to get done. If you come to school, you will pass. You would do well because the work is done during class. Whereas I know maybe some of the other traditional schools, they may have homework and going to school every day. So our business model is really very attractive for people who want to work or who has to work and as well as finish school. And I would tell you though, it's a battle sometimes with work start taking priority over school, and
Hmm.
we have to reach out to the parent, to the student, sometimes to the employer, to make sure that they know that a student, we're trying to help them graduate, and you know what the challenging part is, if they're over 18, employers feel like, well, they're over 18. So, they're grown and they can do extra hours. And we understand that, but usually if we get involved, the employer will work with us to manage the schedule where the student's not getting off at midnight or 1 and then got to come to, school the next day and tired. Again, once we intervene, we usually can fix the problem. But when it's a problem, it's usually because the student don't tell us or involve us. And then, we find out usually once we figure out if we haven't seen someone or what's going on with it or why they're so tired, or why they're late every day to school. But yeah, I think the key is not giving them homework outside of school and also just trying to stay connected, making sure they are working or have those time sheets so that if work starts overtaking school, we can intervene to try to find some balance for them.
Um, there's a reason why you only had 3 hours of sleep. But there's a lot of other questions that I have, but um, there's an event that takes place at the school that we've actually highlighted in the past. But one of the highlights, in addition to the the annual trip that the school takes, um, like I think last year they went to Chicago. Where
Hmm.
where are they going this year?
New York, they're
Oh,
going next week.
oh wow, okay, and they go and they
New York
take trips
City.
and do other things. But in addition to that, quickly tell us about the annual event that took place today.
Hmm. So about a year ago, too, as a matter of fact. So we have an annual fashion show, and it's called Modeling with the Mission. It's a program that I manage at this school, and here's the mission. The mission is about building confidence, esteem. My tag is building confidence one step at a time. One of our challenges in life is getting in front of people, talking to people, the fear of being laughed at, talked about, ridiculed, whatever that is that we experience. So imagine that as a teenager. Yes, we all have gone through it, and some of us may have gone through it into adulthood. So that program, I learned how to model as an adult, and it changed my life because I was one of these really shy teenagers and probably well into my 20s. And learning how to get in front of people and whatever platform you use can really be life changing because it changed my life.
Okay,
So,
I don't want to break your concentration. I want you to finish your story. Okay, but this is your first time seeing it, but I want you to go ahead and finish talking. Go ahead.
oh,
No, man, you got to
okay.
finish telling the story.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, so I started modeling with Mission in the church, and it was actually called Basic Beauty at first, which stands for Body and Soul in Christ. But it was really about focusing on the inside of the self esteem and confidence and self worth and value. And again, a lot of our students suffer from some of those challenges, and this program, a lot of young ladies and men, what do they want to do? Quite honestly, they want to model. Especially now with the social media platform, a lot of them absolutely on Instagram and TikTok or whatever, because everyone wants to be a star now. And
Hold on,
so,
hold on, hold on, hold on. I don't want to. Again, I don't want to break your concentration. But you were saying like here the kids are, and they're trying to get ready to go out, and then you got to go in there because they're in there taking selfies to put on Instagram right before they're going out to go model. So yeah, in addition to what you're talking about,
yes, it was.
it's like, what are you doing? You guys need to be going out on stage, but they're in there taking Instagram and pictures of
And the
selfies.
selfies, in the dressing room, and I'm looking for models, and I certainly lesson learned, have somebody in the dressing room, right? Because even though I gave them instructions, they were absolutely just having a good time. I was like, why are the phones out anyway? And absolutely on Instagram and all of that. And, they felt beautiful and enjoying themselves. And part of this program, which, I have to work on my balance, I know what the program is for. Certainly, I've been doing it for 25 years. It's all about getting them out in front of people. And, I'm looking at this, even though the front row people don't like to sit on the front row, there are actually people there.
Right.
So,
And actually, I started to tell you to tell everybody to come to the front row, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna be quiet and leave it alone. But that I started to tell you to tell everybody to come and sit on the front row.
yeah, and see, as you can see, this is one of even our, plus size model, and I encourage that. One of my program is everyone come as you are. And she was quiet and shy, and to be able to get out there, she probably got the most applause. And just having composure. And she has a sister, older sister, who went to our school, who brought her to our school and told her to be in the show. So, and of course, they were all very nervous at first, but by the second, the third run, oh, they were feeling it. And, they were kneeling down and doing all types of stuff. So, um, the program absolutely works because they realize people are cheering for them, not booing them, not talking about them. And you don't always get that experience. Many of them are, shorter than the typical 6'1" for men or 5'9" for women, all ethnicities. Is come as you are, because I truly believe everyone deserves that opportunity to try to be their best selves, and to be able just to come and kind of feel the love, this positive energy. In my 7, 8 years of doing this show, never had one person booed, never had anyone get talked about. When after lunch they went back to classes, and people were, telling them how great they did, and they were proud of them, and that they got out there, and they did it, because it takes a lot of courage. It is so hard to get in front of people, especially your peers, and especially as a teenager. So I already have some of the juniors like, all right, I'm ready for next year. you know yeah, I'm like, well, I'm not. I need a few winks of sleep. So it's just, even though it's hard to explain. I wish I could have taped the show the first week of practice, and the timidness, and
Well,
just
that's what you need to do from now on. You need to do a documentary from day one till the actual show. So that's what you need to do.
because, again, I'm not trying to make them America's Next Top Model. I'm just trying to encourage them to get out, step out your comfort zone, get in front of people. We also had staff members, the teachers, our COO of the school get out there. So we want them to see that we also can, step out of our comfort zone. And, people, like I said, people are absolutely, a little nervous, but to push through your nerves. And this young man, he was feeling himself, his cowboy hat, his glasses.
Yeah.
And of course, he did a little "This Is a Man's World" little lip sync. But see, I can see the body language and energy, the confidence, out there. You know, so it's a lot of work, and I'm always drained. But the fact, and they told me they're so terrified, but they get out there and do it. And I'm telling you, soon as it's over, here are the teachers. Soon as it's over, they ready to come back again. All right, who are those people? So those are three of our teachers, and
Oh.
we won't name them. A little routine, and again, we want the students to see the teachers out of our normal comfort zone as well.
so
So
how long did it take you to put this routine together with the teachers?
we only had three rehearsals, and for about not more than 20, 30 minutes. So and it's not, it's not like I said, it's not hard stuff. But and our teacher on the left, by the way, I have to tell, that's my buddy. Um, she's from the Philippines, so she joined our school last year, and she
Yeah,
came.
she just came here. She just came here,
Yeah,
right?
she came in September, October. But a lot of people. She's this little petite, teacher, and I mean, she loves here too. But she was also a beauty pageant queen, and like one of those baton young ladies in the drums, and the drums or in the bands. So she's used to performing, getting in front of people. But who would know that about her, right? Who would get to see her? So I mean, she's very comfortable, and they loved her there. But it's just, it's nice to just step out of our normal comfort zone as well.
Yeah, and see, you've been such a blessing to her because guess what, people? You taught her how to drive, and so she now has her driver's license.
She sure,
So
and within 3 months.
right? So you was bold enough to take her out, and now she has a car and has a driver's license because you took the time to teach her how to drive on I-4.
Yeah, I tell you, um, it was a few times though I aged during the training, but she, no, I'm really proud of her. Imagine your first airplane ride from the Philippines to Orlando, and she didn't go the short route. She went the long way around the world. Instead of going from the Philippines east to California, she went west and went around. So I think her trip was like 33 hours or something
Oh
crazy.
wow, wow.
Yeah, so first time flying 33 hours in time to be able to, come here. and she found a family to stay with. But yeah, it was. I was asked to kind of look out for her, but she reminds me of. I call her Mini Me. She really reminds me of myself when I was that age. Um, well. That's gonna sound a little arrogant, but she's really smart, and she way smarter than I was at the age, and very just practical. She's a science teacher, so just very um, practical and mature. I tell you, whatever their culture over there, she said like their students don't curse. So imagine coming to our school from the Philippines and you hear some of the language.
Right.
And but they love her. She's settled in. She really loves the school. She did a presentation 2 weeks ago on her culture, and it was just really, really informative and educational for our students. And they need to know that there's people in other parts of the world, right?
Right.
And that they do things differently. So yeah, but
Now,
it
now, have you had a conversation with her about the culture change, and have she expressed that with you?
Absolutely, because when she did her presentation as well, she talked about like even say they're courting. When a gentleman wants to court a female, they play a song on like a little guitar, and they had to go to the parents. And what I
Okay.
found
Oh, no,
out,
no, 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 no. Hold on. I don't want to cut you off, but we got to watch this right
here
here.
she come. Yes, our wonderful Miss Ashley. I'm like, what are you doing with those shoes on? And I couldn't. I was like a deer in the headlight. I told them over and over, do not wear shoes you can't walk in. And we say,
I'm sorry. I
my
almost
God,
want to run it back.
no. But I'm standing there like, what do I do? Do I take the shoes off her feet? What?
Yeah, but I've seen models come out without any shoes on.
Or send her out barefoot. Next time I know, okay, well, you going out barefoot because that was horrible to watch.
well,
And we're just thankful she didn't break her ankle,
well, we were sitting there just wondering, like, oh, like that the highlights of the model that walk out and then they fall. Oh no, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. They stumble. They stumble the entire time. So we were
yeah,
just because we were
yes.
just waiting, waiting, waiting. So even though you
Oh, he's
really,
doing this a man. This is a man's world.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. So even though you can't really hear it,
right.
but yeah, that's what he's doing. He's doing a man's world. But
James Brown, JB, but yeah,
right, right,
okay.
right. Oh, and you know what? I broke up your concentration. You were talking about her and the culture.
Yeah. Also, she was saying that I asked her a question. I said, "Are people allowed to divorce?" And she said, "No. That you get married, you stay married. So you want to certainly get the right person, I hope, but you got to figure it out."
No, what you should have asked then, like, well, what's the murder rate for spouses over there?
Oh wow, wow.
That should have been your next question.
Yeah, we want to ask which gender, you know, which gender gets murdered the most, right?
or you ask like, well, what are the insurance policies like over there? Do they sell a lot of insurance policies where, and all of a sudden somebody dies? You know?
All of a sudden, yeah.
Well,
So it's funny.
see, that's
Yeah.
what it would be like here, because that's how we are here, you know. All right, it's a man's
I
world.
would say this young man, let me just say, probably was a big surprise for teachers. I don't have him as a student, so since I've been working with him, I've seen this personality, and he wasn't going to acting. None of his teachers knew he was this, this all this extra energy and personality. They were like, "Oh my gosh!" They just didn't see that side because So
Well,
you never
you
know what
know,
brings out that personality.
yeah, well, we interviewed him and he
Hmm.
talked about that and he kind of expressed that talking about himself in the school when we did interview him last year. And then the funny thing, he had me laughing because he said, "They always telling me and asking me if I'm Hispanic. They keep telling me I'm Hispanic. I'm not, I'm not Hispanic. I was like, okay.
Mm.
But he was saying it in a joking way.
Oh
You know?
yeah.
Yeah,
As I
right.
say, we're all mutts. So, um, but yeah, it was, but her culture then, and then they celebrate some of our same holidays. They Christmas, they celebrate, I think, before us. Then they have some, oh, that's the owner of the school. Hearts up. And he came to salute. He's an army vet. He's walking, you can't tell, but his baby face. This is for the cool in you. Look at him. Look at his shoulders. Okay. He was feeling it. So he was now you know what? I gotta give to him. He was feeling it. So
Oh, that's
all
funny.
right. But
He come back
yeah,
in.
it's but it's I think, oh, look at him, that military. You know, having people, learning about cultures, like that's why we take them on a spring break trip, going to New York or Atlanta, Chicago, DC. Like there's life outside of Orlando, outside of Florida. That's our COO. So he's pretty in pink.
Mhm.
And again, he likes, besides hard sauce, he likes this show as much as probably anyone because he likes that the students get to see him in a different light versus being the administrator, right?
Mhm.
And that can have fun. So anyway, and that was actually his wife. So she works with us as well. And she said she was so nervous, but she said, "But I'm determined to get it." Yeah. See, she's forgot all the pivots I taught her. We had a crash course a week or two ago, but you know what?
She just strolling along.
Yes. And for whatever reason though, they like their moment. But you think about this, Charles. How many of these individuals get to model in a fashion show? Or get to have this opportunity? Not many. That's our dean of students. So it's that's what I love about it, giving them a platform where maybe others would not. Especially modeling world is changing now. They're more into plus size, petite. Um, that's our
Counselor, counselor.
counselor for
Right.
mental health, and she never done this, and she was really comfortable coming out. So it was good to see her, on the runway. I'm really, really excited that she, came out was a part of it. We open it up to everyone, but yeah, many of the people in the show, quite honestly, would not be able to make it on the catwalks of New York, Paris, Milan. They don't have the height, the size, and all of that. But to be able to come and do this,
That's
you know, it's it's,
that's
it's really nice.
that's your teacher from the Philippines,
Philippines,
right? Okay, yeah,
yes,
right. Okay.
yeah. She got her little runway. Well,
Mhm.
see, I can tell just what she just did with her foot just then. That was like pageant stuff, and that's our transition teacher. So she's from the islands, but she got her, got her own groove. All right, full turn. So be so fierce. And so she's wearing her St. Patrick's Day green. But that's what this week we actually have. We're doing Spirit Week with St. Patrick's Day. Um, but yeah. Oh no.
Okay.
Uh oh.
Uh oh. Oh,
Who is that?
I don't know. Almost look like a cookie cutter.
It's my twin. All right. I forget that sometimes stuff being taped. I need to keep that in mind.
It, it,
I forget.
all
I
right.
really do
Oh,
forget
oh,
stuff.
look. Okay, get the three. Okay. Ta-da.
All righty. I'm glad I didn't trip on that one. So, all right. So, try to teach little routines, and they practice so diligently on that, but they were in sync.
Yeah,
See, look at
yeah.
that.
Oh, wow.
Yay.
They
You
are.
know, I'm telling you, and you would think, because in my world, I would learn that in seconds, that, we practiced for few weeks, but, they did it. And so, again, and some of them are juniors, they'll be back next year. And they will be ready to just jump right on. the young lady from last year, she was supposed to come and be in it, but I didn't see her.
Now,
So
is this girl right here? Is she a junior or a senior?
she's a junior, so she would come back.
Okay. Okay.
And
Well,
she
no,
already, because, go
no,
ahead.
no. She looked like she was having fun. Okay.
Yeah, and oh my gosh. Oh, wow. I didn't know he did all that. No wonder they were talking about him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. He just jumped up on
Oh,
it. I
he's
mean,
doing Michael
yeah,
Jackson.
yeah, yeah. And I actually kept this right here because I want you to see him do this right here. Watch this right here.
Oh my gosh.
he he was
I had
moonwalking.
no idea. No wonder they were talking about him. We were just glad he didn't do flips because he was trying to do some aerial flip stuff. This young lady actually has some modeling training, so I can't take full credit for her, but she's tall. She's actually one of the few people that's really tall and would potentially could go into that space and make some money. Um, but yeah, I would tell you, it's a very stressful day for me because I had really high expectations and put months into this. Like he was really excited now, and I will say after school he found me to come say thank you for giving me a second chance because last year he was supposed to be in it, but he wasn't coming to rehearsals and he said, and see, this is one of our, fuller models, but she was very elegant in her outfits. I would say she had probably some of the largest applause, and she had, very flattering outfits on that was nice. And I just love it because we represent all sizes and shapes. And she, where I don't know how many opportunities she would have to go out model, but I'm glad she was able to do it on, at least on our platform. But yeah, the young man, he came to say thank you because he said last year I wasn't coming, I wasn't committed, but this year, I'm so glad I did it. And so it was um, it was nice to I appreciate it because there are times I get very weary, and as you know, had a conversation. I have to figure out some things, but I know what this program does,
Hmm.
and you know, I, I'm telling you, some of them, it's like afterwards, like who are these people now? You can't sit, you got to yank them off the stage because they they really grow into who they are, and they feel like very popular. Like at school, they a lot of people come up to them and saying good things about them. And think about how often students have that opportunity where people coming up praise them, and to really congratulate them and stuff. So um, that's the one with the hair I was telling you.
Hmm.
Yeah, Vaughn. So,
Okay,
so
okay,
yeah.
no, no, no. Here we go. Here we
Uh
go.
oh,
Here we go. Here we go.
there she goes. Different pair of shoes, and she laughing. And she's trying to wear a head. This is I should not be laughing. It's unprofessional, but
Really? Is it preparation to come out there with those shoes?
and I don't know, Charles. If God is my witness, I've told him over and over: do not wear shoes you can't walk in. Do not wear heels that you can't walk in. Like this young lady, she's in flats. I'm like, no problem. I need you to be comfortable. Ashley was gonna be where what she wanted.
that,
But
but it's funny because she can't walk.
I
She's
know.
she's stumbling and bumbling the entire time. It's just like, what are you doing?
And you know what? She came back and said she had so much fun.
Yeah, yeah, you can tell, but I learned a long time ago trying not to figure that thing out. Whatever it is that women with shoes, I just I that's a I
She
don't know.
like, she was in this roaring 1920s dress with the fringes. There's no way, like in say a big show, you coming out there in flats. You're gonna be in heels and all that stuff. But I said I gotta learn to let them bend the rules some because as as we know the reason we do it to get them out there and help them feel better about themselves. And they do. Uh-oh, he's back.
Yeah, but
Okay, I was. Uh,
see, but we was watching and we was really sitting there. We was trying to take bets on whether or not she was gonna fall or not. We was like,
well, he was more tame that time,
yeah.
but and I'm telling you, if you can just be backstage and see all the craziness
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, and that's what people don't know. People don't know all the stuff when you're doing shows and all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. There should be a documentary called Behind the Scenes of the shows where you just do. And actually, I mean, they have done that like on ESPN, like when they're doing like a football game, and the producers, the directors, and all of that that's going on because people have no idea what's taking place behind the scenes because it's sometimes a madhouse.
Oh, it is a madhouse, and I don't work well like that. I'm really a pretty organized person, and like I said, I was up at the school till almost 10:30 last night, then up to 2. I make tags for all the clothes and put them on the hangers and hang up all their clothes so that they know exactly which is their clothes and their hangers. And I'm like, you hang your stuff back up. And in that dressing room, it was crazy. And I tell them you can't put on perfume. Some of these are not for some of them. It's not their clothes. I'm like, these clothes got to go back. And I'm looking at them spraying perfume. And I'm like, okay, somebody got to get these cleaned. Now, see, I put her at the end because this is with the sleeves and all that. And you know what? I'm so proud of her, and I wanted her to feel good. And again, like I said, I know she's smiling, she's taking her time, but she could have really worked those sleeves. But she,
No, is she a junior or a senior?
I think she's a senior. I think she's a senior. So this is kind of finale. Even the finale, I'm like, go, somebody go, go. No, I don't want to go first. You go first. I'm like, go. Because we were running a little bit over and they had to go to lunch, and I'm just like, guys, just go. And then we had practice of finale, bowing, a ripple, one at a time, a ripple bow. We had it all down in practice. Well, today, up there she is. I should have said, come on. So now the teachers and staff are coming in. But if we had practice like one at a time, kind of ripple bow, and that just went out the window. I'm trying to get them to do it, and I'm like, at this point, I'm just happy we made it through another show, you know. So, and it was, I'm trying to tell them, like trying to get them to bow. That's what I'm, wanting to see going on that side. Now they're clapping. I'm trying to bow. I was like, okay, this isn't working. Then she cursing, I'm like, what? Practice this finally. But anyway, you know, um, and it's funny. The owner, he was like, I want a group picture of everyone. So we try to transition to that, and and I don't think we've had like, well, these are the steps and we're able to do it. But at this point, you're just glad you made it to another show because I'm telling you, you don't if you can be in my head, like I'm literally trying to go out and do a routine. They come, Miss Perkins, can you pin me? No, get somebody else right now. I'm about to go out. When I get back, or what scene am I in next? Look at the lineup on the wall. Have another person help you. Should I wear this shoe with this jewelry? This. I'm like, just choose, figure it out. I mean, I'm constantly getting asked all these questions while I'm trying to run the show. And again, I know many of them never even done a show before, but some of them came late, so they missed all the prep and instructions. And so I tell you, I'm
but
just
but
thankful.
but that and all in all, and why I want you to come on today was really to talk about. A lot of people don't know about Workforce Academy, the alternative school, even what that means. A lot of the challenges because we really haven't really talked about the true challenges that you face over there at the school. We have kind of highlighted the highs of Workforce Academy and the things, but there are some true challenges that we all face among any schools. But even so, Workforce Academy get a lot of the students. Like for an example, that's been that has had some problems at other schools. Some of the schools they've been they've been expelled or they've been talk about that for a minute.
So I think students come to our school for five reasons, just from my 9 years there. One, they certainly want to work. So they have that opportunity to work and go to school. Two, they need to usually get their grade point average higher. So some of them have struggled in the traditional schools. Of course, many of them come through the COVID era. So they were freshmen or sophomores during COVID. So a lot of them fell off school altogether and end up having low grade point averages. So need to get back on track with that. And in our educational system, look, I am not an expert, but it's certainly a lot of um, issues with the system because as you go through grade to grade, you get passed along, and many times you'll see D's on report cards because, say, freshmen, they get past the junior or sophomore years because you got to make room for those eighth graders coming in to be freshmen. So by the time we get them, 11th and 12th grade, is nowhere else to go. We can't just pass you on. So again, those low grade point averages want to work. Some of them have some behavior challenges, so they have been expelled or suspended or kicked out of school for fighting, um, cursing out the teachers or administrators going off. Some drug use. When I say drug, maybe weed or pot or some pills or something, vaping, which that can be actually pretty serious. There are some pretty different level expulsions, if you will, and then some want a smaller class environment. And then I would say the other piece is some some are have what we call IEPs, individual education plans. We give them special accommodations. That's at any school, but I think a smaller school can help a student who's behind in reading or who's behind in math, or maybe they don't comprehend well, or we may have to use a different method to teach them than the traditional method. And so we have a little bit more flexibility with that for those who may be a little bit slow learning or have some struggles with that. And then the other piece, I said five, but I'm gonna throw in the mental health piece. I'm telling you, in the last few years, I'm so happy that we really talk about this. We have a counselor who was in the show who's committed to our school, comes in a couple of times a week to meet with our students because when students act out, it used to be, send them out or do this or do that. But as I've said this before, I don't think people wake up just to have this horrible day. Something caused that dysfunction, that meltdown. Some of it certainly is really lack of maybe a safe home environment. We do have homeless students as well, but mental health, we find out is a percentage of our students on medication,
Right.
ADHD,
Right.
um, um,
Yeah, I was
bipolar.
right. I was just. I don't mean to cut you off. I was just. I began the show talking about Dr. John Robinson, the gentleman, the psychologist who actually came up with the idea of the show that we started. And when I talked with him the other day, as I was talking about at the beginning of the show, we talked about that. And I'm always in question uh, talking about in our culture in this country, we don't handle mental health at all. We our way of dealing with mental health is to give you drugs, lock you up, tase you, beat you down,
Mhm.
um, and I was giving examples, and I was asking Dr. Robinson this question about our inability to. First of all, you got to have it in here, and you got to have a
Mhm.
concern. That's 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 one of the problems that we have because we don't have anything in here. And this is a different show, but I'll just touch on it. And I told him that can we talk about this because I told him I wanted to come on. So, like for an example, uh, a while back, you saw the gentleman who went and attacked the judge. You saw how he jumped over the desk and he attacked the judge. Well, the only highlight of that took place was sentencing him with this long term,
Mm.
right? So that's the answer.
Right.
There's
Right.
nothing normal about what that gentleman did, and the family member said that he had some mental issues. So how you gonna
Mm-hmm.
deal with him? Well, let's just lock him up because he went over
Mm-hmm.
and he jumped across the desk to attack the judge. Well, there's obviously there's something wrong with him, but they
Right.
don't address it like that. It's just
Right.
easier to say let's just lock him up, and that's who
Right.
we are. There's something
Right.
wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
we, I guess, there's just too much money in locking people up versus
Mm.
investing in trying to deal with the mental challenges that is part of a great deal of us dealing with mental health. Another example, and I could be wrong, but the and this is the example that I gave Dr. Robinson was the gentleman I think that he attacked David Chappelle on stage.
Yes. He came on stage. Yes.
Right, right. Okay. I could have the information wrong, but he said he did that because he was trying to draw attention because his mother needed help.
Right.
Everybody talked about the beat down he got when he got on stage. Nobody
Right.
said anything about his mom and the help that she
Right.
needed.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Robinson gave examples of people in desperate times and desperate situations. And I gave an example, like, yeah, because they may not have done that, but in desperate time or desperate, I may go rob a bank, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
right, so who we there's something we don't have it in here. We just don't have it in here, and
Mm-hmm.
so when you look at who we are, uh, there's just something wrong with us and our culture. Um, but that's another show. But I just want to thank you for your hard work and your dedication. I know how much work you put into today's uh, um, event, but also for what you do. And the thing that we didn't talk about that we don't have time for now is trying to get those kids to walk across that stage now from March, April, and what takes place for those who are just on the edge and they need to be pushed a little bit, and the staff and what you guys do to try to get those kids to be able to walk across the stage. When is it? It's May, right? It's May, right?
May 18th, two
Right,
months and a week.
right. So in a few weeks, they will be trying to graduate, and they're going to be some that's going to be a little disappointed, but I don't know. So
That was a nice way to say it. They become hostile because it's our fault, that they got what they got or they're not on track. And we have put some things in place. I'll even say this, spring break is next week. So instead of going to New York City, I wanted to staycation, but I'm going into our on campus for 2 days, 5 hours each day, give them 10 hours of my time in our computer lab to help them towards their online classes to try to finish those classes so they don't lose a whole week of online. So because I know what's coming. We know
mhm,
the storm before the calm before the storm, that we're about to, come back and go to fourth quarter. They're gonna get these report cards, and they gonna realize, oh my gosh, I need to do X, Y, Z. Our senior advisors meeting with them to tell them what their grade point average is, what's needed, and for whatever reason, some of them just it doesn't click that you will not graduate if you don't get a 2.0 grade point average or 24 credits. We don't pass you to the next grade. There is no next grade to pass you to. You have to meet these requirements of OCPS to be able to walk across that stage. Mind you, many of them, we have two state tests: math or algebra and English. And if you don't pass those state tests, you technically don't even get a diploma. So you get a certificate of completion. Say you have your 24 credits and your 2.0. You can still walk across that stage, have that time with your family, but you actually did not fully earn your diploma. And we have quite a bit of those individuals. So even after graduation, they come back to school to test with us, or we try, some may get a GED, or we try to get them to Job Corps or somewhere to, complete, to pass those tests. So it's not always, the journey is not always over after they walk across that stage,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I know. They be singing the song to the family. I walk across the stage. I walk across the stage. I walk across the stage. And they go, yeah, but you didn't get your diploma. You didn't get your diploma. See, that's what
You
they would do.
know,
Hey, that's what they would do at my house.
well,
I'm serious. Yeah, but you didn't get your diploma. You didn't get your diploma.
and you know what, Charles? Some of them, this will be their only graduation. A lot of our students are necessarily going to college, so we really push trade school. Let me just briefly say, because I know we need to go. We have two trips planned down to Tampa, St. Petersburg, to the Job Corps program,
Mhm.
first week in April, because you can learn a skill. So you may not want to go 4-year college, but you can go
Right.
to this program, which is up to you, and they help you get your high school diploma, and they teach you how to drive and other things. So it's a wonderful program. I'm so excited that we're going to be heading out in a few weeks, and that I'm over that program, because I always look at, okay, what are the options? College, trade school, work, continue working, military. I'm a big supporter of that, as you know, and so is our cadre. There you go. So is our administration, and so our I tell them my goal now is, what's next after you walk across that stage? You need to start planning now, not wait till May 19th when you wake up to try to figure it out. You need to have a plan, because May 19th, you're like, oh, I'm done with high school. But within a few weeks, you're like, okay, now what do I do? So next. So, and I'm telling you, former students come back all of the time, like, we didn't listen to you. You told us. And we
Well,
let
see.
them come back and talk to the students, because they need to hear it from their peers, people who were sitting in those seats a year or two before them.
Yeah,
And
well.
I run into them all the time out at the store, still trying to get that diploma or somewhere.
Well, I
And
can't
they're
tell you
like,
how many times I heard that story. But it, but the funny thing is, and people that do what we do or do what you do, and we had that conversation all the time. The people in my circle, all the time. There's always the student that you see years later. You see them years later, and they come up to you and they say something, and and you say to yourself, you was listening. You had no idea. They will say something, and you be like, oh, they shock you. You were listening because you had no idea. They come
right.
back like 8, 9, 10 years later, and you'll see them just out of nowhere. And they'll come up to you. They're like, "Hey, Coach Morris. Hey, Mr. Morris. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, and you were so right about this, and you were so right about this, and da 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 da." And you sitting there like this, like, "Really? You were listening to me?" And they shock you. you know,
Oh, yeah.
it
Those,
happens all the time, but it's just you just never know who's listening and the impact. It catches you totally off guard all the time.
absolutely.
Or they'll come up to you. You haven't seen them in a while, and they'll come up to you, and they'll just give you the biggest hug. Like, oh, you were my favorite coach, and da 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 da. Yeah, like, oh, okay, all right. you know.
I know. They,
Uh,
it's, and not that that's why we do it, but it is nice to know that we have impact, and that,
well, that's why you do it to have the impact. I'll reverse it for you,
okay,
hoping that you will have the impact.
right,
That they are
right,
listening because like I said, you're hoping to plant the seed so when the time comes they hear the little voice in the back of their head that the seed has been planted, and so when the time is right you hope the voice is heard. That's why you do
absolutely.
it. That is why you do what you do, you know.
All right.
Right. So thank you so very much, and from Workforce Academy, we will have you back to find out, like, well, who Walk across the stage.
Woo, 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 woo. Oh,
All right,
oh
but
my gosh,
all right,
that's around the corner.
all right. And again, thanks so very much. Appreciate your hard work. I know that it's time to get some rest. And another one was very successful, and hard work paid off. And I know that they're giving you kudos and saying, "Good job, good job, good job." Right?
They were very supportive. They gave me some time to work with these students because I know we got to go. My first 2 years with the school, I was part time and I wasn't teaching, so I had a whole lot of time to come in and get to that program. But once I started teaching, that made it really hard or more difficult. But they really was good this year. They gave me 10 hours last week of time, 2 hours a day, and I needed every minute of that time. But they it's the school really looks forward to this the annual fashion show and it's really they support it wholeheartedly. So I'm thankful for that and for them as well.
Okay. I did want to say this before we leave, and I wanted to ask you this earlier. Um, Understanding the challenges that is that every school faced, but even more so there at Workforce Academy. Is there any opportunities for people who want to find out more about the school, want to volunteer, find out if they can help, whatever that can be done to say, I have time, I have money, I have
Mhm.
ideas. Is there a board that meets? Is there a planning something? Is there something that somebody watching this and go, you know what? Let me find out more about uh, the school over there.
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity. So our website is workforceacademy.org, and basically we're we're always looking for certainly good teachers. We have the traditional subjects of math and science and social science, U.S. history, government economics, business education, computer lab, so and English. So we have those traditional courses, and also we have permanent substitute teachers. So if you're someone who may want to have some flexibility with your schedule, but can also be really attached to one school. And then we also partners and speakers. We always welcome speakers to come and speak with our kids. Of course, you have had the opportunity recently to come speak to them, mentor them. They need that. They really need that, especially our young men. Partners who want to support us financially or in, business opportunities. We need jobs for our students. So we have a career forum next no 2 days and Wednesday, a career forum coming up with different companies coming out and opportunities. So workforceacademy.org, and those options are available. But we're right in Orlando, on 2210 Rio Grande Avenue, which is on the campus of New Covenant Baptist Church, right down the street from Camping World Stadium. And it really, if you want to learn more about us, reach out. We welcome. We really welcome because we we do have challenges, but we think we're doing good works there and changing lives and changing families and changing communities. But we need partners and people to come along to continue to help us, grow in those endeavors.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for all that you're doing for all those who are trying to make a difference in the lives of our young people. Um, we need it now more than ever. Here at the Journey 2020, we ask if you have any questions or comments or concerns, you can always hit us up with an email right here at the Journey 2020 at gmail.com. I will always try my best to highlight you and all those who are out on the what I call the true battlefield,
Mm.
doing what you do every day. I have been there and I have seen some of the challenges that you're facing. And I started off the show talking about how I just I just I just can't do what you do. I just I would I'm serious. I would be in jail. They would come take me away. I'm serious. That's I mean, I love sports. I love coaching, but I can't coach these kids now. I just can't do it. I just can't do
It's a different breed. It's a
it. I
different
know
breed.
me. I know me. And I know how I grew up. I knew how I was coached, and whatever it is, I'm sticking to that. That's it. But anyway, this is the Journey 2020, and we want to thank you once again. And I enjoyed the show. Hope the people enjoyed it as well. And again, as they say, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Lord. This is the Journey 2020, people. Enjoy the rest of the week. You be blessed. You you pray for them people over there at Workforce Academy.
Please.